So I'm actually on the go right now in a car, and I tried to go through my phone, but that was not working through StreamYard. So,
it was kind of working, but not really working.
Hey, we're here. What's good, Dogfather?
Hey, what's good? What's good? I'm fine, man. I would love to be in Miami as well. I'm here in the good old cold Europe. All doing good. Plenty of action this week. Happy to talk about that.
Yeah, man. I saw Adam let the stamps out of the bag. I thought we were going to hold that off for a few more days.
You know what it was? And we'll get into the Bitcoin stamps a little bit later, but people were just, I saw people tweeting about it and I was like, well, before people start like, you know, making mistakes and losing money, and people are doing it anyway, right? People always mess up. I was like, because I'd had that how-to built for a few days now. And I was like, let me just get it out there so people actually don't, you know, rug themselves, because it's so easy to rug yourself. But we'll get into that a little bit later. How's it going, Leo?
Good. I'm upgraded to co-host status now.
Your yeah, you're our official co-host when Jake's on the road.
Nice. Pumped for the show, guys. So, like, honestly, there's just so much to go.
Yeah, is Leo talking? I can't hear anything.
Yeah, Leo's talking, so you might need to rug yourself and rejoin.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, man. So first I wanted to start the show with a little bit of an update on the curated collections. And if anybody's over on YouTube, you'll be able to see the screen up here. But if you go to OpenSea, you can actually see the curated collection, although not really anything for sale yet, but they do have, we're just, you know, playing around with the contract, you know, trying to figure out how to properly organize all the different attributes, which obviously are a big deal. And, but, you know, we've been fortunate enough to have, you know, I think it's like 60 or so assets added in. So you can kind of see where that is. If you go to OpenSea and just punch in like Rare Pepe curated, you'll be able to find it. So there's, you know, 60 or 70 Rare Pepes in there now, which is pretty awesome. And we thank our community for that effort. And we're working through some bugs. I mean, basically the hard thing for me is like, okay, well, how do we organize the attributes? And, you know, we've had a lot of input from a lot of people, but I think I'm of this mindset that we need to just keep it as kind of stone cold simple as possible. And we're definitely working on that. Have any of you guys seen it yet? Have any of you checked out the YouTube page yet?
So I have not actually, but that's where I'm going right now. So sorry, how do I actually go to this on, like, is this on testnet or can I actually go on OpenSea?
No, it's actually on OpenSea.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you guys are like, yeah, if you type in Rare Pepe curated, you'll see that and spells of Genesis one there. It is the live contract. The vaulting link for curated is private, so we just have to share it with you. It's in the Discord and like our private early vaulters. We're refraining from putting it public yet until we get all the kind of kinks worked out for it. But it is, yeah, that is all absolutely live. But as Adam said, right now we're focusing on, we fixed most of the UI problems so far, and now we're just working on some of the attributes and labeling and stuff.
Yeah, so if you go OpenSea.io/collection/rare-pepe-curated. I wish there was like an easy way to share links like this, but there you can see them all. And so they're in. Jake, do we have an estimate on when we think we're going to go live? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, so next week we're going to roll out the migration where you go from legacy to curated, and that seems to be kind of what most people are waiting on. So we waited this week. It's just native to curated, and then it'll be migrated to curated next week. And I'm assuming there's probably when you'll see like thousands. I've literally had at least a few dozen people reach out and like, yeah, I have 100 or so legacy. I'm just kind of waiting for that, and that'll be the real test.
Yep. So the migration, just so anybody knows, what that means is that if you already have a Rare Pepe vaulted, you know, on OpenSea, it'll just be basically you can go to your collection on Emblem.finance and basically click a button, which is like migrate, and you'll be able to basically select your Pepes and migrate them to the new contract in just a couple clicks. So obviously it's a big deal when it comes to like some people have hundreds of Pepe's vaulted. So pretty psyched about that. Yeah, Dogfather.
Can you also change the description while migrating, or is it really just going from the one to the other contract?
Yeah, the description and title and everything is actually set by the contract itself. So this is one of the nice things about it, is that all the titles, descriptions, everything's the same. So
this is so awesome.
Yeah.
This is like the dream.
This
is so awesome, guys.
Yeah, so some of the interesting things that you just got to keep in mind is, so right now the description has to be the same for all of them. We did have some people mention for like Spells of Genesis that they want to put like unique descriptions for the FD card and Satoshi card and stuff, but at least from what Shannon's told us, where we pull the data from X-Chain, it's kind of like dynamic in a sense, so there is some like limitations to what can be done. So just try to keep that in mind while we like formulate it and get it as to a template, because then we can move this down to things like Bitcoin and Oasis mining and memory chain and all that stuff. And I think that's going to be the cool part, because some of these people have been sitting on some of these, Oasis mining or Bitcoins for such a long time that they're finally have the opportunity to kind of spread awareness.
Yeah, I think, obviously we're super psyched about it. I wanted to give a quick shout out to historics.xyz. Our good friend has done a really, really nice job. I don't know if you guys have seen it recently. I got it in the YouTube if you want to check it out, but historics.xyz. He's actually already listed the Rare Pepe Curated on his page. It looks amazing. But then I just, that popped up. Somebody had DM'd us and let us know that it was there. But then I look at his other collections that he has as well, and he's just done an amazing job over there of not only his homepage, which kind of gets into the history of NFTs and stuff like that, but a pretty nice place to shop. I gotta say. So Historics XYZ, giving a big shout out. Let's get into this is exciting for me, the Bitcoin stamps. And I know we've been chatting about it privately. The devs really didn't want us to kind of talk about it widely. They were trying to fix some stuff and get some stuff kind of finalized about it. But now it's kind of cat out of the bag. I tweeted about it this morning, the how-to, and I minted a bunch, just to be completely transparent. I minted a bunch, over 100. I didn't get any sub hundreds, but I have, you'll see the green Pepes, which are, I don't know, in the 120s or whatever. Those are mine. I paid a little homage to our Pepe friends in the hundreds there. I'll scroll to them right now so you guys can see them with the green background. But people have already started minting the Pepes, just, bite perfect Pepes is already happening. But love to get in and talk about this. If you guys have any questions about the stamps, I'm happy to share as much info as I have. Have any of you guys done any I was calling them inscribing, and people were getting mad at me. They're like, it's not inscribing, it's stamping. But I don't know what you guys think about it.
I mean, actually, this is not new, right? This is just now organized. So what JP Jensen was doing 2014 with Olga was exactly the same thing. And now the only thing you do, all the encoded information, so your image, you just put stamp in front of that whoever is screening the chain is putting those into the collection with a few more filters. But it's basically the old idea, now organized by real, Rare Pepe and Counterparty OGs. That's the beauty of that, right? And organize and kind of like pitching it in the sense that, look, we can also do ordinals on Counterparty, and this is even a bit safer if you follow their arguments.
Yeah, I had because to me it's like, well, what are they? These are digital images stored on blockchains. That's the way I kind of look at it. But for devs, I was like, oh, these are just ordinals, right? And they're like, no, they are not. There's this crazy like I don't know if it's infighting or just this. I mean, I guess we've seen it in the historic NFT space too, where you get into these like discussions, I guess would be a nice way of saying it, of like, well, what is it? And the idea, I think ordinals really has this kind of woke a bunch of Bitcoiners up to like, wait, you can just create this protocol And if enough people agree on it, it's like this really, really powerful thing. And I think we've seen that with ordinals. And it woke these devs up, and they were like, but wait, that's witness data, and witness data can be pruned. We're going to do it in, I don't know, the transaction output data. And that's the most secure. And so these guys were like, obviously we knew about this before. And I was chatting with Chain Left earlier today. And, obviously he's an expert in this sort of stuff. And so this was obviously, as you just said, well-known before, but these guys kind of came to it like, well, we should organize it and do something similar to ordinals in that, once you kind of create the protocol, and if it becomes adopted, then it's kind of like these, I don't know, maybe have value, potentially have value, whatever. But it was fun to be a part of, and a lot of OG Pepe people are in the Telegram and stuff. That's where I knew it was like kind of exciting to be in there. But Leo, what's your take? Give me the Ordinals Maxis take.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so first of all, I love experiments. I'm a huge fan of just trying like different variations of things like this. To me, it's very much like taking like what worked with ordinals and then kind of tweaking it a bit to maybe, I think the pitch, the main reason why you would do this is because you're getting that just slightly harder, slightly more just like resilient data, yeah. I guess. So that's basically the pitch. And yeah, I mean, look, there's definitely going to be people who value that. I'm not convinced necessarily that it's enough of a tweak of the protocol to really like get people to like care enough. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like, I think like if they had launched with collection support when ordinals doesn't have that, these sort of things, I think this is how you get protocol adoption. But yeah, look, I think it's an interesting twist on it. It's a fun experiment to have. And, we'll see if people like paying basically the downsides are you're paying 4x the price, right, yep, to inscribe. And
they're small, super small, right?
And they're smaller.
So it's way smaller, expensive, right? It certainly doesn't have near the functionality that we can see with ordinals. The ability, I look at ordinals as far more than just images, right? And you guys tell me if you look at it a different way, but I look at it as a lot more opportunities, right, to do stuff. Obviously, we've already seen with text, possibly like dot sats or different kind of stuff layered on top. While this really is much more along the lines of maybe just a pixel art platform or protocol, I guess you'd say. I mean, yes, you can do a little bit larger files, but it gets like crazy expensive, crazy fast. I forget what I was trying to do. I think I was trying to do like I was like, oh, let me see what a Bitcoin ape would be, because I had downloaded a couple images of Bitcoin apes when I was trying to inscribe those, and I put one in. Bro, it was like $600 or $700. I was like, oh, well, that's not going to work. The byte perfect apes are not going to happen on stamps,
Don't get people thinking, Adam.
Bro, do not do it. It's $10 million. No, I mean, literally people have already started doing the punks. And I was like, man, here we go again. Can we do something different? At least, this time we do have a lot of the Pepe guys in there who've done so. And if you scroll through, as I'm scrolling through here, you can see like Skrilla's work. You can like see it just because it looks like something Skrilla would do, and so there, it's cool. And J-Dog's in there. He did a bunch. So they do have counterparty, support. J-Dog's been real good to, help build it out and stuff. But yeah, we'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. It was fun to do. I didn't fade the generational wealth. I probably lost all my money because maybe they don't catch on. So, who knows, man. But it was fun. Did any of you guys inscribe anything or stamp anything?
I did not stamp anything. I don't. But yeah, I'll definitely check it out when I get a chance. I definitely think it's a worthy experiment. These guys, I would not, bet against these guys. So definitely think, even if it doesn't end up like taking over ordinals or something, it will be a fun kind of like at least niche thing that I'm sure, you know, the Pepe community and some counterparty people will do cool stuff on over the coming years. So I'd definitely be paying attention.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways it's when I see the Pepe kind of guys in there, you wonder or you think about, well, is this just a this could be a multi-year kind of thing, and but at the same time, you know, the way I look at it is, you know, for stuff to really take hold, it's got to take hold at least in the beginning. There has to be some sort of like hype in the beginning because that hype kind of brings the attention. And we'll see. What are we at right now? I think we're at this is one of the things, just so everybody knows, like when you inscribe, first of all, just like ordinals, the inscriptions can take like minutes to hours. I had one because I didn't have much like Bitcoin in the wallet. I did one at like half the cost of what I thought it would be. Dude, it took 3 days to clear. 3 days. And I wasn't even certain that it was going to clear. So if you are using my how-to, definitely, you know, make sure you put enough in there to get it to clear, because it can literally be hours or days or never if you don't put enough in. But just so you know the process, so the thing has to clear, you know, it has to be stamped fully. And then the guys who run the website, this website only updates like every half hour or so. So even if you have one and you can see it on like Xchain or whatever, it still may not even show on the website. And it could take, you know, 30 or so minutes. You guys have to, please, if you're following that how-to, you have to enter like the part where you type in like stamp in capital letters and the colon, like no spaces. You can't forget the colon, like all that sort of stuff. If you get it wrong, you've just wasted all, you know, yours will not be included in the protocol. So all good stuff, man. Anyway, anybody else? Ethor, yeah, I saw your mic come off. You have anything?
Yeah, I haven't got to experiment with stamps, but one thing that I love, every time something new comes out and the experiments come out, you start to learn more about what there was before, you know, the narratives and the facts of why this is here or why they believe that it should be there. And in this case, you know, I didn't know about pruning and kind of what that could lead to. And now knowing that, all right, so, you know, ordinals were supposed to be the hardest form of an NFT. And then you start to see all the narratives about no NFT on Ethereum will ever be a true NFT bullshit because,
Right.
you know, IPFS and all of that. And then ordinals is the hardest, biggest truth. And then stamps comes along and then tries to refute that.
the world's hardest NFT. I think I put that in my tweet. It's so silly, but at the same time, you know, it's like it's something some people are, you know, that has kind of driven the narrative, right? Certainly with ordinals, and everybody loves Bitcoin. Everybody believes Bitcoin's the strongest chain. You know, that they're not going to go away has some value. Like that has value to people for sure. Mafiko, what's up, man?
Yo, man, I can't keep up in this damn space.
No shit.
Stamps now? Oh my God. My goodness. It's cool. This is great. I haven't had a chance to have a look. You know, you mentioned hype before, Adam, and I think what naturally comes to mind for me is that, you know, lightning rarely strikes in the same place twice. So it's like we had this amazing, just organic or whatever happened with like ordinals, and it just happened and took all of us by surprise. I'm hesitant to say that it'll happen again.
Oh yeah.
But in the same sense, what I'm interested in, it's interesting to me about stamps is that this kind of focus on pixel art, if that is indeed a focus and what they end up that community ends up doing long term, I think that's really cool. I think it's really, really cool as a distinct like niche thing that actually, and also as you point out, you know, the people who are into this, who are in that community, I mean, they've been in the game for a long time. It's not like it strikes me as people who are not really interested in like flash in the pan kind of stuff, that are more like, this is something cool, we'll build on this, and you know, we'll see where it ends up.
Yep.
And not say it'll be successful, but we'll roll with it. So I think it's cool. I don't know if it'll be like, yeah, like a, you know, really intense hype in the beginning, and everyone kind of we're talking about it for the next 2 weeks or something. But I can see it something like as an organic movement that grows and then has its moment, maybe perhaps a little later down the line once tooling and those kind of things are developed, and once the sort of community solidifies a little bit around exactly what it is. If it's pixel art, great. If it's not, if it's something else, awesome. But yeah, once that's kind of settled, it'd be great to see.
Interesting take. Yeah. I think obviously my feeling is it's impossible to get anywhere near. If they had 10th the amount of interest as ordinals, that would be amazing, right? It's almost impossible to have that kind of hype around anything. Like honestly, what Casey was able to do by luck or whatever, just because it was such a new idea, is we probably won't see another thing like that for years. It's almost, from a marketer's standpoint, it's almost impossible to craft something like that. It's almost just like you have to build something so cool, new, and innovative that people just go crazy for it. And I think that's what Ordinals was. I don't hold any illusion that this is going to be anything like that. I do think that pixel art kind of narrative is a cool one. That's for sure. I actually to be perfectly clear, I tried to help these guys a little bit because it's just a handful of devs and they're devs, right? They don't necessarily do marketing and stuff. But I tried to advise them, like even this their tagline, which I'm looking at right now on YouTube, unprunable Bitcoin art because sats don't exist. Like complete transparency. I told them, guys, you got to get rid of that tagline, man. Stats don't exist. I'm like, bro, you're going to start a war. And for what? Like, it's confused, but whatever. They want to do what they want to do, And so they didn't listen to McBride, but it is what it is. Leo, what's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to give my take on why ordinals blew up so much over the past 2 months. And my thought really is pretty much what you said. It's like there was basically an innovation that was significantly a leap forward, right, for the kind of crypto space. So the idea of on-chain, we've nerds collecting NFTs have the idea of certain on-chain collections and whatnot. People like Chain Left make these articles, but that idea hadn't really been solidified as something that's actually really important, right? We didn't really see the narrative blow up around that. And then inscriptions on Bitcoin. So you're on Bitcoin. So it's a very hard, secure chain. And you get this innovation of a protocol that just natively, seriously, drag and drop files onto Bitcoin. That inscription innovation is a really, really big deal. And when you combine that with the ordinal theory of numbering sats, you get a really interesting product that just did not exist before, a really interesting protocol. And I think this is Adam, how many times have we said a year ago, everybody kind of assumes all the innovation's done, but there's so many things left to do, guys.
Dude, we haven't even begun, man.
This was just sitting there for 14 years. So I'm a fan of continuing to innovate and, betting on people like Casey who are, heads down for a year, just not caring at all about what other people are doing. And time again, that's how we see innovation occur. It is not, I took Bored Ape Yacht Club and tweaked it 10%. It is not, I took this and tweaked it 10%, or that's kind of monkey see, monkey do. There's people like Casey out there who they're totally in a different world, right? And they're really understanding this stuff at a very intrinsic level. And they're just in a lot of theoretical land right now. And there's lots of people like, Casey out there. And when they're able to create a product or a protocol with all those interesting innovations they had, because let's be honest, ordinal theory alone isn't that, what would you do with that, right?
Yep.
So when you create it into a product that people can use, that's a really kind of big moment, right? And you saw that with ChatGPT, with AI. All these AI breakthroughs happened several years ago. They just packaged the experience into this little chatbot, right? And this is what the world cares about. So the message to builders, I think, is you have to try things that are not just iterating on what somebody else did 10%, but really think from first principles and really try to innovate. And then 2, you have to figure out a way to wrap that into a product and an experience that people actually care about. It can't just be you talking on Twitter Spaces for 30 minutes about why somebody should use this. It's like, you need to be able to go to like ordinalsbot.com and just drag and drop a file onto Bitcoin for the next 1,000 years and have it be stored in, you know, the International Space Station and stuff, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
No, you're right, man. And I mean, it's so interesting. Like you said, this stuff was sitting here for, you know, since the launch of Bitcoin. And yet when Casey finally like figures something out, it takes off. And now the people who were actually like building on Bitcoin wake up to like, oh, shoot. Oh, wait, I can create an entire protocol around stamps something, right? And you know, it's like you guys are developers. Like, you didn't think of this before. And the reality is they didn't think of it before, right? That's what great tech does. It like brings to awareness, oh shoot, like there could be a whole nother layer tomorrow, or, you know, we could come up with it today where it's like, I don't know, historics or something. And we filter for X, Y, or Z, or text or files or whatever. But these sort of things, this is the innovation curve. Mefiko.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because, you know, this is my first time hearing stamps, and really I agree with Leo in the sense around like customer experience trumps the tech every time. And, you know, we have wonderful builders in our space, but very often, and this is an observation of the entire NFT space, that we lead so much time, so much of the time we lead with the tech language or the tech and focus on the value proposition around the tech instead of the actual experience of the user, which is maybe why we have
Totally,
such terrible, you know, user experience in NFT land in general. But when I'm hearing about stamps, I'm like, for me, what gripped me was like the pixel art. That's what I was like, that's cool. The fact that it's potentially marginally better than ordinals, I was like, yeah, like that's all right. Like it's great that, you know, there's some tech advantages to it, but yeah, it's just about thinking about how they package it up in a way that's compelling to users, and to facilitate the kind of experience, rather than it being the tech being the primary kind of like, oh, we're better, SaaS don't exist, that kind of language.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a better way to frame it.
Exactly. Dogfather, what's up?
Yeah, the interesting part is about the ordinals is, I mean, this is not a new concept, right? So, I mean, we had colored coins before, you know, and there was also an attempt. I was just going through some old blogs. I mean, someone was saying, look, colored coins are nice, but why should we not count and sets like in the ordinals today? But nobody picked up that idea. And at some point, I think Counterparty was taking over the interest, and people were just minting tokens rather than using colored coins. So I think, and also Casey was, you know, discussing his rare sats theory, and nobody was really taking care. But the combination of that, having Taproot in place and being able to drag and drop all kind of files and inscribe them on Bitcoin, I think that was the winning combination.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Speaking of user interface and operability, Leonidas comes out with his new or.io. Is it or.io, right?
Yeah, or.io.
Or.io, which allows users to explore the newest and latest in ordinals. Bro, give us the TLDR on this, baby.
Yeah, so Zach is actually in the audience, and myself basically came together, and for the past month just kind of hacked together this fun idea, which was, you know, we have all of these ordinal inscriptions, just like a drip feed coming in. People are inscribing every block. There's hundreds of new ordinal inscriptions. And I just found myself like loving, you know, literally spending hours scrolling through all the inscriptions, like checking them out. And the idea is pretty simple, like allow people to vote on their favorite inscriptions and have them show up higher on, you know, or.io. And then that'll basically allow for the coolest inscriptions to basically be more discoverable, so that I'm not having to like scroll through a bunch of inscriptions. So the idea is, you know, try to cut through the noise, add signal to the discoverability and exploration of ordinal inscriptions. And I mean, that's basically the core of what we're doing. We're building it out to also be somewhat of an explorer. So we're working on some cool things there. We want to basically highlight all of the things that, you know, I'm talking about on Twitter, which is like, stat rarity, inscription number, the size of the file. These are all interesting collectible layers. So we also want to surface these things so that people who are, maybe a little bit more serious collectors, they want to go, beyond the surface level of just like what the art looks like in the community. We want this to be the place where they're able to do that exploration and do that research. So kind of like combining like Reddit with, a collectible search exploration for ordinal inscriptions.
And I love how the top right now is these like monkey dude. What's the name of this project with these like monkeys with little signs? Monkey wizards or something.
These guys who are high on opium, apparently. Yeah, they hold these like little signs with like crypto meme stuff on it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at one now. The little sign says, there is no second best, this sort of stuff. Top G, I'm a digital artifact, blah, blah, blah. So this is what you get when you get upvoting mechanisms. You did have a downvoting mechanism, and that very quickly changed. What happened with that?
Yeah, so basically what we saw like pretty much instantly happened was, my kind of thesis was people are going to just invoke like people are going to upvote the coolest looking GIF, maybe, a message from like a cool, like, blog post message, the Bitcoin white paper or something like this. And we have seen people upvote those, right? But we've also seen basically this phenomenon where a community realized like, hey, we are, a cool project and a cool community. This is a way to like almost market ourselves by getting ourselves to the top. Right. So the community in the Discord, like these opium guys, and there's probably been like maybe 30 or 40 communities that have done this over the past few days, where they'll tweet out a giveaway. If you like download Xverse wallet and have an ordinal in it, then you can go vote. So they're like, go vote for this inscription, screenshot it, share it here, you'll be entered in the giveaway. And like, if you go to the Opium Discord, they've shared the link to ord.io like hundreds of times, right? And yeah, I mean, basically that's all really cool, right? Because people want to like, increase awareness and kind of almost compete with each other to get to the top of the homepage. That's awesome. The problem was we had downvotes. So people very quickly realized like, not only are we going to encourage people to upvote art, hey, this is another popular collection that like is kind of edging us out right now. We need to go downvote this one. So they're like sharing, hey, downvote these guys quickly. Like we got to pass these guys. And that whole dynamic wasn't, I mean, look, it's kind of fun, but I just don't think it was super healthy. So we very quickly were like, okay, we're going to try upvote only. This has been a fun experiment with the downvotes, but gotta encourage like, hopefully like positive things in the space. And the whole, like, let's attack this other community just wasn't like, it was an unintended consequence, Adam. So
yeah, you're getting the full degen mode, I can imagine. How just for my own understanding, the upvotes, do they like fade after a period of time or anything like that? Or if I upvote something, it stays there indefinitely, or it is it like a timeout?
So it's very similar to the algorithm on Hacker News or Reddit. And the difference being, we don't weight the age of the inscription as much. We want people to be able to go back and like upvote something that was inscribed 2 months ago, right? Where on Reddit, if something's like a day old, it's going to be much harder to get to the top. Yep. And especially if it's a month old, there's no chance you're going to get that to the top, right? Yep. So yeah, I mean, basically we have it's a similar kind of algorithm. And the reason you're seeing things stay at the top is because these communities were just so good at getting like, I think the Chinese ordinal community is up to like 170 upvotes. So they're going to get to own the top spot for, maybe 48 hours or something like that, because just everyone else hasn't gotten their act together enough. So even if some inscription organically gets 20 upvotes, and it's a newer thing starting to trend, it still is going to not be weighted as high as something like, this Chinese ordinals community who put their logo on there, right? Because they just got so many inscriptions. So the algorithm's working how it's supposed to, but, we basically just, if we like increase the number of people voting and the number of users on the site by like an order of magnitude, you'll probably see a little bit more healthy organic dynamics start to play out, because then it becomes significantly harder for a single community to organize to just like own the top spot for 48 hours. But we think it's awesome that they're doing that. So nothing bad about it or anything. but that is why you're seeing opium monkeys hanging out
well,
towards the top.
So that's what they're opium monkeys. Okay, opium monkeys. I got it. It's funny because I think I was chatting with you about. I think you had done a Twitter poll. It's probably over a year ago. Yeah, it was probably. It was probably 2021. And I just remember being in like the Pixel Map Discord because it was like, which is the best map? I think it might have been like, which is your favorite map NFT, right? And it was
so
like
it was NFT fight, historical NFT fight club.
Yeah.
And it was more of the like, billboard style buy a pixel style projects. And we just, I threw up a tweet and put all 4 of them in a poll and was like, in 24 hours, I'll buy the floor on whichever one.
That's right. That's what it was. Yeah. Have you thought about doing the I'll buy the floor one? That could be, boy, if you really wanted to get engagement, that could be amazing. People would love that, dude.
Adam, I like the way you think. I will say I'm intentionally not trying to, like, Zach and I are very much running an experiment with this. Like, we actually didn't know how people would use it. Like, this was not something we necessarily expected to happen. So we want to just watch and see organically what people are doing with the upvoting. And basically, if I go in there and just kind of like swing a huge hammer and like influence how people use it, we don't really get great feedback on it, because we want to more see like long term from a product perspective. What would this evolve into, right? Yep. Some people are saying it should be a marketplace. Some people are saying it should be an explorer. Some people are saying it should be a social media site. Like, we have absolutely literally zero idea. We are just building an upvoting site, and we need to, just take it step by step. And we very much value the feedback, and we're very much looking at how people are organically using the site. So I'm not trying to influence that too much.
Yeah, I get it. What by the way is the top thing now is CN? What's that?
Yeah, this is the Chinese ordinal community I was referring to. So
okay.
They tweeted, so they basically inscribed their logo yesterday and tweeted out a giveaway saying if you download Xverse and you have an ordinal inscription in that Xverse wallet, and you go vote for this inscription and screenshot and share it in the replies to this tweet, then you will be entered to win. I think like they're actually it's actual money, like thousands of dollars are being given away. So yeah, that's like why you're seeing that one at the top. This community is obviously pretty powerful, and they're sharing the links in their Discord as well. And they're just basically able to rally stronger than the other communities. There's a few other communities doing giveaways right now that started in the last 24 hours, and you're starting to see things kind of rise a little there. But yeah, I mean, they so far are the highest upvoted inscription of all time on Word.io.
It's very funny. Actually, I remember now the monkeys, the whatever it is, crackhead monkeys, or the that was the one you bought the floor on, right? I mean, not even by mistake. You were just doing
so
like
that was the pixel Pepe's. No. I think that was Bitcoin frogs.
Oh, it's the frogs. Yeah. That's right.
Bitcoin
tell
frogs.
that story so everybody knows what the heck happened with those guys.
So it's funny. I had another run-in with that community because, of course, they were like on the first day they got up to like 90 votes on their frog as well. So they had a second act here where they're trying to do some fun marketing. But yeah, I basically put out this demo video when Magic Eden's Bitcoin NFT, ordinal NFT marketplace came out. I put out just this video saying like, hey, this is how you buy something on Magic Eden. It's really easy. I just did a 30-second.
Right. It was like how to one of your good, like how to buy something on Magic Eden in 30 seconds. Right. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what I did was, of course, I didn't go buy like a 1 Bitcoin NFT for this video. I bought the cheapest asset, and they only had 16 collections listed. And the floor on the Bitcoin frogs was like significantly lower, right? There's 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
So that's what I bought in the video. And, I would say like 1/3 of the replies to that video were people like excited about Magic Eden. And then 2/3 was, oh my God, Leonidas bought a Bitcoin frog.
We like the frogs.
Yeah. So again, unintended consequences. The space, the degens never disappoint, Adam.
They never sleep, and they're always looking for anybody of substance to in any way interface with their product, and therefore their product is good product and needs to be bought by everybody. That's funny. It was the frogs. Yeah, they're all the same to me. I'm looking at frogs or these crackhead monkeys or whatever. It's all or these things are just crazy, man. It's amazing to see what's happening. But congrats on that, man. I appreciate the building. I appreciate the effort. And yeah, it is interesting to see like what is this exactly, right? Following like an upvote Reddit model, like what it becomes. It could be it's interesting, right? It's interesting to just build it and see what happens and get feedback, and maybe it becomes something even bigger and better, and who knows what. Maybe this is your life. Maybe this is your life purpose. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, for now, it's just a really fun experiment. I have to give a huge shout out to Zach down there. If you're listening, Zach, dude, like you've been absolutely crushing it. Zach does like the actual coding. I'm more like the product manager. So like Zach also like has another full-time job. So he's just been working his ass off, like pumping out code, doing a really, really incredible job. So thank you, Zach.
Awesome.
And yeah, Adam, I appreciate all your feedback.
Yeah, man. So let's get to Ethord. What's up, man? Ethord's going to bring us Hoarder's Corner. What do you got for us today, my man?
I like the little playing music. That's nice. So I was gonna do vintage board games, and then I went down a rabbit hole of just chess, and I was like, chess is way too cool of a history and story and some high priced sales. So yeah, we're gonna do chess this week. Do we have any chess fans up on stage?
I think we probably have a couple.
I am the owner of the Wizards chess set from the Sky Mall magazine. So I don't know but collecting the pieces, I kind of, I am a Wizards chess set holder. So just pointing that out.
Nice. I'm a proud holder of the Simpsons chess set, which I loved as a kid.
Wow. Nice.
Okay, so yeah, this is Hoarder's Corner, a weekly segment that explores the world of physical collecting. As I said, we're doing chess this week, and the origins of chess are pretty interesting. They actually are rooted in the 6th century in an Indian game called Chaturanga. Chaturanga had elephant pieces instead of bishops, and a king's aide, little minion guy, instead of a queen. But basically, the board setup looked the same. If you were to just see it and you didn't really know chess too well, you'd think it was probably the same game. So it was really popular, again, 500 AD, and then it spread to Persia and the Islamic world. And this is kind of a really cool theme that you see is as it gains popularity and moves to different cultures and different places of the world, it shifts and changes. So when it went to the Islamic world, the pieces started to change due to religious reasons, and they shifted to more geometric shapes away from representations of humans and animals. And then as it continued to gain popularity, it made its way to Europe around the 15th century. And that's when the modern rules really took shape. So games could take days to finish initially. And so they changed some rules to speed up the game, a la kind of what baseball's doing this year or the last couple of years, thankfully. And so queens could all of a sudden move the entire board. They used to only be able to move one square, so they became super OP.
Gotcha. So queens almost acted like kings in the past.
Well, yeah, exactly. They were just initially they were the king's aide, and they were just crappy pieces that were very much similar to what kings could do, except if they died, the game wasn't over. Yep. And then, yeah, we started to get some really powerful queens in Europe at that time, and they led to these rule changes to make the queen the best piece in the game, which is pretty cool itself. And obviously, yeah, that and some other rules, bishops and knights also gained more abilities and squares. So the games got a lot faster. And then, while chess has remained popular for centuries, it's continued to rise with the USSR's emphasis on it during the Cold War, all the human AI matches. It's been in all sorts of pop culture, movies, TV shows. So yeah, at this point, obviously, chess is the ruler of the board games, and it's one of the most beloved games of all time.
Cool. And the cheating scandal recently, right? So we'll have to see about that.
What was the cheating scandal?
Oh my God. You don't know about the cheating scandal?
Does it involve Russians?
Well, probably whoever the best
It
players
involved
in the world are.
vibrating butt plugs.
You know?
and- yeah, I don't know.
You haven't heard about this? Come on, man. This is like, I mean, even I'm not a chess guy by any means. Maybe Leo, you probably know the names of the guys and stuff better than I do.
So I don't really follow competitive chess, but I think his name's like Magnus Carlsen.
Yep.
And he basically accused this like up and coming. So Magnus is like, I guess, the kind of thought to be one of the best in the world, if not the best. And there's this up and coming, like, teenager who I think maybe is like 17, 18 or 19, like pretty young guy. And he was like really, really good. And he, trains with AI, and is just like really kind of, like just meteoric rise in the space. And Magnus did not like the way this dude was cheating. He thought that he was somehow playing AI assisted during the actual tournament games. So he just got up. Magnus got up. He moved one piece and then stood up and then left the game out of protest and forfeited. And he basically, without saying it, basically everyone, the theory is that this kid who has been proven to cheat in the past, says he's done cheating, this teenager. What he's doing is he's somehow putting like a vibrator up his butt and going into this game. And basically the way it works is because they're like live streamed games, somebody is at home watching the game, running the best moves through an AI, and then basically sending just very low resolution feedback to this kid to basically tell them what to do. And, of course, like, it's a vibrator in the butt. It's not like it's saying move to A17. You can't do that. But what it can do is even, the AI saying just the slightest little thing like, open with this instead of this, move aggressive or less aggressive. That can just be 2 vibrations or 1 vibration. That little bit of feedback is enough to win a game just because AIs are just so like far superior at playing chess now. So that was the accusations. There's just no proof.
Yeah, they don't know. The butt plug is a little that's a theory, right? We don't know exactly. It could be something.
Adam, all the new tournaments now, they're like scanning them for butt plugs.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But they did do, I mean, the thing that convinced me was they went back through, I guess it was the game or two leading up, and run those through like these models. And he did, I want to say, was like 80 straight perfect moves by the AI, running it through the AI. These were basically like considered perfect moves, and did like 80 or 100 and some crazy number that is basically impossible. It's like an impossible feat. As of today anyway. You wonder, is it going to be like some savant is going to be able to like train under an AI or something and be able to actually do this?
That's the argument for this kid, Adam. Is that, Magnus is, his brain's already developed. He's, a decade older. He didn't grow up training on AI. This kid's just a teenager growing up, just training with AI. There's actually like AI software that you're not just playing the AI, it's actually teaching you like what it's doing, why it's doing it.
Yep.
And if you get that in your brain as like a child, I think it is probably some sort of huge advantage to have your brain develop and only learn playing chess with like a very, very powerful AI. And this is how poker is also evolving as well. So, AI assisted training might be all that's happening here, and there's nothing illegal or wrong about that, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I was going to say, I was going to pull up something somebody tweeted out earlier this week, where he was actually talking about like riding BMX bikes. So I used to be a BMXer back in the old days, right? And he was like, look at how far this has come. He's an older guy like me. He's like, look at how far this has come. Because he shows basically this guy doing, I'm gonna put it in the YouTube here, but basically this guy doing a front flip and throwing the bike itself. He basically throws the bike off, and the bike does a flip concurrently with him doing a flip. It's like a flip of a flip. And then, I mean, it's literally like, it's insane. And so as he's flipping, the bike's also flipping. And, you know, and I pinned underneath, I pinned a tweet of me back in like, I don't know, 1984 on like a half pipe, you know, and I'm showing it right now, but like me on a half pipe.
Those socks are killer.
Dude, you like those socks, right? Bring back the socks, man. But like I'm on a half. This was like, for me, this was completely extreme. Like I'm over the coping, you know, no helmet on and whatever. This was like, and even the best guys in the world in 1982 were like getting maybe 5 feet of air, 6 feet of air. This was like radical. Like, you know, I still remember in BMX Action magazine, the first guy to ever do a backflip. Like it was covered on BMX Action. Like this was the height of, you know, trick riding, right? And now these guys, I mean, it's a different level. So to get back to this, like the idea of chess is that, yes, when you have this kind of training where you're training against things that are, you know, how often could you have played against a grandmaster, right? But now everybody on earth can play against a grandmaster every single day, right? How much better are you going to get? It's the same. You just see it in sports, like especially I'll mention another one, surfing, right? Surfing now with wave pools and stuff, you know, guys are literally doing flips on surfboards and stuff, right? That would have been completely impossible 2 decades ago because the opportunity to actually try a flip, you're going to get that like once a month, right? Now you can have it 20 times in an afternoon, right? So your ability to get better faster it's exponential. So anyway, that was a little bit of a rabbit hole, but back to chess, man. So tell us about these sets. I mean, I'm looking at, I have the webpage pulled up that you sent me, and I'm seeing ones with like diamond encrusted stuff. Is it mainly along those lines, or is it also some of the older stuff that maybe queens or kings owned in the past?
Yeah. So if you actually, these are the two most expensive, and they're more recent, and they're just gaudy jewels, but they're cool. I do want to show this historic one that sold in 2019. If you can type in just into Google Lewis, Lewis, Chessman piece sale, I'm sure you'll see it right at the very top. But that's pretty awesome. So that's my favorite, even though it sold for less, but it still sold for a lot. So an ancient chess piece kept in a drawer for 55 years and originally bought at a flea market or like a garage sale for £5, which is $6, was sold at auction in 2019 for £735,000, which in US dollars was 927. So we'll just call it a mill.
Wow.
Or I know Jake's not here, but that's 527 E.
And this, so, you're saying this was this a whole board, or this was just a piece?
That one piece right there.
Wow.
Right. That's it, which is crazy. And it looks cool, right? Doesn't that
very
thing
cool.
look like it should be in some movie that can like come to life?
Yeah, very cool.
But yeah, so talk about a flip right here. This person paid $6 and made a mill on it. But what makes the Lewis Chessman piece so historic and beloved? It dates from the 12th or early 13th century, medieval times. It's made of walrus ivory. These are just some of the most gorgeous sculpted pieces, and very few surviving pieces are left. So this is kind of like the grail of all chess sets right now. And, keep in mind from the history, right? Like the game of chess evolved so much that this piece was kind of really around right when it was starting to become huge in the form that we know it now. But okay, we'll go to the two other pieces, or the two other sets that are just, jewelry landmarks. But the first one is the Game of Kings chess set. This is estimated to be worth $3 million, which is 1,700 ETH. It took 2 years to make. It contains more than 110 pounds of silver, and it's inspired by ancient Aztec and Mayan civilizations. I do really like the artwork here. If I were to choose one of these two sets, I would go with this one. It just looks more elegant, more classy. than the other piece that's just shitting out diamonds.
So this is, for those who can't see it or in the Twitter space, this is like, almost looks like, I don't know, Mayan or, you know, Native American sort of statues, right? With like big headdresses and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other one is the Pair Royal chess set. This thing is $4 million, 2,265 ETH. And this is designed by renowned Australian jewelry maker Cullen Byrne. There will be 3 made in total. Interesting enough, it is not a one of one. But, and I'm quoting from his direct website here, this dude created, quote, genuine alchemy by turning natural objects into gold with a secretive forming process here.
Oh, come on, man. Holy cow. That is rare, man. That is rare.
So the Pearl Royal set is, quote, better than gold. It is, and even the underside of these fucking things.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was like, bro. The
diamonds.
underside has diamonds and stuff. And obviously the board is like glass. It's like, are we going to scratch the board? I guess it's not meant for playing, right? It is meant for sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I think the bottom itself, the fact that the part of the chess pieces that you never see itself is just shiny, glistening artwork. But I mean, it's cool that someone spent the time and crafted this thing. But you know, if you ask me, it's that first one from the medieval Lewis piece that really is the grail.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
there we go, man. So I actually, my favorite definitely is the individual piece. Did you know, because I didn't get to read that whole article, were there other pieces from that set, or that's like the only piece left from that set?
some is sold. That was just the most recent.
That was the most recent.
Up in
oh
value
wow.
Now.
So wow, they split up that set and we're like, okay, let's just sell individual pieces.
no. The seller literally just bought that one piece, not knowing what it was, in 55 years. But there have been other pieces that have sold. I think that there's only one full set in some museum. Like, it's so rare.
Very cool. Yeah, you guys got to check that out. Definitely go back, watch the YouTube to check this piece out. It's like this, I don't know, guy in a robe. Looks like he's got a sword or a stick. He almost looks like a fat wizard. Very cool. Very cool piece. And that's a nice flip, $6 to 900 grand. I think, thanks for that, man. Appreciate you, ETH Horde. I think I put out a tweet earlier this week about maybe the greatest flip in the last week or so was, and we'll touch on this last part, is that Nullish, I don't know if y'all saw it, but he sold an individual sat on Ethereum for 2 ETH. And I did the rough calculation, and I think it was like a 12 million % return on that sat. I don't know if you guys had tracked that at all. Leo, are you tracking that?
Yeah, I did. Fascinating that it's, I think, the first that I'm aware of where it's somebody just buying the sat for the sat itself, right? It's not to do with the inscription. So yeah, I mean, fascinating. Like, he, has been searching for sats, and I think sat hunting and sat rarity and sat age is kind of a hot topic right now. I'm much more open-minded about what can be considered rare. This is the scheme used for this sat is the scheme that Casey created, where there's like a common, uncommon, rare, legendary, etc. Right? And there's different kind of rules that you can apply to all of these like quadrillion sats, right? And what this sat was it was the first sat mined in a block. So like if a block has 100 million, maybe
100
like
billion. Is it 100 million or billion? Million. 100 million. 100 million.
It would be like 10 billion initially. Basically tens of billions, or at least a few billion, because blocks obviously get smaller every happening, right? So it changes. But yeah, I mean, TLDR is there's only about 700,000 of these. And of course, it's not like there's just 700,000 on the market to go buy. Like, you would have to sift through all 19 million Bitcoins to actually acquire all 700,000. So he was able to, sift through about $20 million of Bitcoin, extract about 50 uncommon sats. And this is one of those just vaulted. So yeah, it's interesting. Again, we have no real price just like we're in price discovery. There's nothing to really go off here. So somebody set the floor at 2 ETH. Maybe it's worth, 0.01 ETH. Maybe it's worth 10 ETH. We will see. It depends ultimately, in my opinion, on how valuable the inscriptions, how valuable it is to an artist to inscribe on one of these. So if you want to create your collection of 1,000 pieces on uncommon sats, and that ends up creating like a lot of extra value for the inscription collection, that will drive demand for the actual sats themselves, because then there's a real like utility behind the rare sat versus just holding the rare sat alone, right? Because you'll have artists that actually want that rare sat to use as a utility for their inscription, right? So that is kind of the argument, and I could definitely see one artist, paying 2 ETH to potentially buy a very rare sat, and then that's going to just basically make their inscription way cooler to collectors, and probably they'll get more than 2 ETH worth of value out of that. That's very possible. Yep. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I put go ahead.
Before the first halving, there was 50 Bitcoin a block, so that would be 5 billion sats.
Yep. So you said, Leo, this was the first sat in a mined
in a block.
In a block, yeah. So
the miner gets, like Ethor just said, 5 billion sats. This is the first one in that block. So that's why, like, under Casey's, rarity scheme, that's why this is considered. It's funny because it's not like it's legendary, it's uncommon. So there are 700,000 of these. But yeah, it's a fascinating trend. And I just expect it to kind of play out how we imagine.
Sure.
Marketplaces and explorers will just add discoverability layers. People will be able to check more easily the stat that their inscription is inscribed on. None of that tooling is like really great right now. So I imagine that tooling kind of gets built out. And then just like inscription number, you have this other kind of hidden layer of collectability behind an inscription, other than just the community, the art, the, who the founder is, this kind of thing. So I'm definitely kind of looking at it pretty seriously. I think, as a collector, it's kind of hard not to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny because I put that in, I was just half joking because I realize it's like, I said, 12,500,000% ROI. And then Nullish actually said accurate if you could only count the actual value of the first stat, not including padding and work and all the rest of it. And which I thought, of course, I was just kind of half joking, but I like Rob. Rob puts in it's quite a lucrative way to swap BTC for ETH, which I thought was cool. Yeah, Ethord, what's up?
Yeah, along those lines too. Leo's always talked about kind of merging the date it was blocked, and if it were a super early one and the art on it together. Song a Day Man, Jonathan Mann, doing some a cool little experiment with that too. So I just wanted to bring that up. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it for all of them. It seems pretty gnarly, and I was looking for the tweet. I don't have it in front of me, but what he's doing is he's trying to inscribe his song on an ordinal that was mined the day that he released the song, and do it for, I don't know if it's all of them or a set of them, but he's working with someone right now that's finding all those days. And I think that's pretty cool. That's like a really cool way to merge them together, right?
For sure. Song a Day Man. Yeah, I actually connected him with Nullish a while back about this. And so I don't know if he's working with Nullish. I assume he's still working with Nullish to try and find, because basically he has a bunch of songs that he didn't make into NFTs, right? He's been doing Song a Day since like the birth of Bitcoin. And so a lot of these don't have NFTs attached to them. And so, yeah, he's looking for an interesting way to kind of highlight these songs by finding individual sats from the day those songs were launched. So that's pretty cool. Song a Day Man, it's a good dude. Does anybody else have anything else they want to chat about before we head out of here?
I had one question. I'm just curious, have you guys thought about for just like Emblem Vault, legacy to Emblem Vault curated migration? Have you considered just like automatically moving everybody's assets over for them? Like, I realize that there might be like a squeaky wheel occasionally, but I don't know. Like, I feel like 99% of people would just be pumped to have it on it, just an objectively better, newer technology. It's probably safer, arguably.
Yeah. You know, I think it's technically it's probably not possible. Although, you know, I'm not honestly 100% sure if that's true or not. I have discussed it with the team because I did think that was a good idea, right? To be able to just put everybody on a better, safer contract. But yeah, I don't think it's not possible, but I'm not 100% sure, honestly. But
Gotcha.
yeah, but I get it completely. Like it makes sense to me completely. Especially when we were talking about, you know, like we just did the launch with Coldy, you know, the artist, and he obviously wanted to do curated out of the gate because he wants to be able to collect, you know, a royalty and stuff. But obviously we have to do Pepe's first, and this was kind of brought up. Well, can I just push a button and get everybody in the brand new contract? And technically, it's not. It's super challenging, and there are maybe some legal issues that we don't want to get into by doing that. You kind of have to let the individual choose. So the short answer is probably not, unfortunately, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense, and that's why I was kind of bringing it up because I really didn't know. But yeah, look, I think it's an extremely positive step that publicly, you know, the Pepe Curated are now on OpenSea, and I think it's just about getting a mass movement to encourage people to vault, because it's very much like a chicken and egg problem. The collection isn't super useful without, you know, like 100,000 cards in it.
100%.
So we need to find some of these like rare Pepe artists that like have, you know, 50% of the supply and just have them like do the one click vault 50% of their supply or something, right? And just vault that and get the volume moving on OpenSea, because it's a win for every single rare Pepe holder to have this.
Yeah, you're right. It is very much a chicken and an egg, right? If all the sales were suddenly happening there, everybody would move. But to get everybody to, you know, to get the sales, you need people to move. And so, yeah, it is a chicken and egg.
People are so lazy, dude. People are so like, no, everyone's just going to wait for like, this is like you have these mints happen and like, you know, everybody just waited for like the crypto schools, right? They didn't mint out for 3 years. Yep. Everybody thinks it's interesting. I actually talked to all these people who liked it, but because it had like 2/3 of it hadn't minted out, there's no incentive. Everybody's lazy. Who wants to go be the first one to mint?
Yep.
You're much better off waiting to be like the last few people to mint, because then you know that it mints out.
Yep.
So everyone just kind of is lazy for 3 years, and basically I have to go sweep a bunch, and then people kind of mint it out, right? It's an interesting phenomenon.
It is, and it's hard, and we've discussed it a lot. Like, how are we going to incentivize people? Luckily, Pepe's, you know, we do have this like really nice community of holders who are interested and recognize the benefit, even if they don't want to sell. Like, we have a lot of people who aren't selling their Pepe's, but they understand that, you know, by vaulting them, putting them in the curated collection, they're adding value to the community, which is going to benefit them long terms. That helps. We're going to try to do some nice incentives around the public launch to make it very advantageous, like finance wise, to make it as inexpensive as possible for people to not only vault originals, but migrate over as well. So a lot of incentives to try and, you know, get that egg rolling, you know, so we can hatch some chickens. But that's where we are, man. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for coming in. Thanks for helping me out. You know, without having Jake here is it's hard, man. But I appreciate you guys.
Great, Adam.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks, Heath Horde. Another great Hoarder's Corner. Appreciate that. And have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much.
Have a great weekend, guys. Peace.